Mitch White now available? No.
I guess I can see him.
First questions from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Hey, Mitch, what were you dealing with when you got to camp that was a setback for you?
Yeah, I had a little shoulder impingement. It was kind of pinchy in the back, and then we had to strengthen some stuff up front. And now after a few weeks, it's been good. So that's basically it.
When did you start throwing, and where are you at right now?
I probably started throwing a couple weeks ago, and now I just threw my first pen 2 days ago, throw another one tomorrow, and kind of build up from there. So hopefully the next little over a week, you good to go?
So you expect to get in the game, hopefully, before this is over?
Potentially, yeah. One of the last couple games. I mean, we're running out of time in terms of spring training, but if it's not there, it'll be at the alternate site.
And just going back to last year, what was last year like for you? Obviously not having a minor league season.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird, man. It was different than anything else I've ever done. But it was cool. It was fun to be at USC with the guys, and we made it work for sure. And then the whole going up and down the taxi squad situation was a good experience as well. And obviously being in the bubble and being around for the World Series was amazing. I mean, it was crazy and weird, but pretty awesome.
And then just Mitch, as a Korean American, how have the last few days been like for you and your family after what happened?
I mean, these last few months have been tough, and then culminating in the most recent, the murders in Atlanta were just terrible. That whole situation, knowing what my parents or my mom had to go through to make it, and her family as well. It's tough to see other people being persecuted for that, and hopefully some good can come out of this in terms of awareness and solidarity from the majority of good people, I think, in this country.
Has this something that you mentioned the last few months has sort of been like anti-Asian violence and rhetoric? Have you guys felt unsafe? Have you worried about relatives and all that?
Me personally, luckily, no. And then in terms of my family, no, we definitely talk about it. My aunt is very vocal about that, but nothing luckily super specific or anyone that I really know.
Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah.
Next question is from JP Hornstra. Go ahead, JP.
Hey, Mitch, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, JP?
Can't complain. I wanted to ask you about debuting in the pandemic season. Given all the strange circumstances around last year, do you at all think of your first major league game of 2021 as like a second debut, assuming it comes in front of fans?
I mean, yeah, it'll certainly be different. It's a little different throwing in front of real people than just cardboard cutouts. But it's nice to get at least my foot in the door and get started there. And then I think this year, who knows what's going to happen. I didn't know what to expect before my actual debut, but this could be another second debut for sure. It'll just be interesting. I have to wait and see.
I don't recall if we talked about this at the time, but like, what was the adrenaline like last year when you made it? Was it what you would have expected in a normal circumstance like that?
I don't know what I came in expecting, but it was like nothing I've ever done. That's for sure. I mean, I was definitely nervous, definitely adrenaline, couldn't really feel my body or anything. But, like anything else, when you do it enough, you kind of get into those rhythms, and I figured it out eventually. But definitely different than anything I've ever done.
Cool. Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah, of course.
Next question is from Eric Steven. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Mitch, just wondering, the program you're on throwing wise, are you building up as a starter or how are they, what's your role like? I know that you haven't really pitched much, but what's your role going forward?
Yeah, it's going to be most likely as a reliever, but I mean, how baseball goes, especially with this team, even though we're so deep, you really never know. But as of now, because of the rehab, because of the guys we have in place already, I'm going to be a reliever and just kind of feel it out from there. Who knows?
And then is that, something that could, it's weird, like last year there were no actual minor league games, but with actual minor league games coming in May, do you think that might change at that point, or it's just not something on your radar yet?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I'm not really sure. As of now, I'll just treat it as if I'll be a reliever going forward, for the whole year and beyond. But really all up in the air, I think.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Another question from JP. Go ahead.
Hand was up by mistake. Sorry, guys.
Next question's from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead.
Hey, Mitchell, just kind of circling back to something you mentioned earlier about what your mom's family had to go through. What has she told you about, I know you talked about your grandfather before, but about, I guess, them coming to this country, maybe some of the challenges that they had to face?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of overt racism, I don't think there was so much of that I know of, at least. But in terms of the struggles of just coming here, she was 9 years old, and her parents and younger sister came here and just had to grind to make a living and make a life. And they've had a lot of success doing that. But I don't think it was never easy for them to make it, being outsiders and not really having too much of a community. Now it's a lot different. I think there's a lot more of an established Asian community, at least in the Bay Area where I'm from. But that wasn't the case back then. So I think they felt like they were kind of on an island. And to do what they did, it's insane to think how much they had to deal with, but they figured it out and did well for themselves.
And your aunt is Juju Chang, correct?
Juju Chang, yeah.
Yeah. How has maybe she helped you, kind of better understand these issues?
To be honest, we haven't talked too much about it specifically. But I guess like on Instagram, I follow her. So I see a lot of this stuff going on, and she's worked with other Korean Americans and other Asian Americans in terms of raising awareness. And for me, she's always been a great person to talk to and learn about what's going on in the world in general, especially when I'm not paying attention as much. But this issue in particular, maybe that is something I need to reach out and talk to her about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, everybody.